Hey everybody, this is Jennifer. I'm coming to you with another sales update video. Before I get started, I want to tell you what happened today. A few days ago, I actually posted on Instagram that I sold my first Loro Piana suit. It was Hickey Freeman, and I was all excited. I was like so happy. And then today, and I think he just got it today, there was the guy who bought it put in for a return. And as soon as I saw it, I was bummed. And then I looked at the reason, and I was more disappointed because he said not as described, and I'm sure you all know if it's not as described, you're paying for the return shipping, and you're paying for the original shipping as well. So I was pretty disappointed about that too. So, and then I looked at the reason, and the reason he went, there was this long description about how all the little measurements were off by like a fraction of an inch, and like the sleeves were 24, not 24.5, and you know, first of all, like I'm not lax about taking measurements. You know, I take it on a flat surface, I write down every measurement after I take the one. I don't put a bunch in my head and then write them down, and I'm thinking, no way were all of these measurements off on this suit. And I'm thinking he's just, you know, he knows the system and he's making up a reason they can return it and not have to pay anything. So that kind of caused me to go look at his feedback, and which was kind of interesting because he, you know, he's been purchasing things for a while, and then about a year ago he just stopped leaving anybody feedback. His feedback for others just stopped, which is good because I probably won't get a negative or anything, but it just completely stopped. But his buying kind of got ramped up, and he's buying like all high-end stuff like Brioni and like all different things, and I'm just like, you know, and I'm questioning whether to block him. And then the last thing, I'm not going to say what it is, you know, but the last thing he purchased made me kind of question his mental state actually. So I was just like, I'm gonna block them. You know, I usually don't block anybody because they're returning something, but like there was just too many factors here. And since he's buying all high-end men's stuff, and that's what I'm getting into, I just don't want to bump into this seller again who's kind of using this as his personal shopping experience that he doesn't have to pay for at all. So, you know, it does happen. You know, if it happens to you, and if it's a high-end thing like, you know, like this where it's really like a little punch in the gut, because it's going to cost me about $30 in shipping because this guy lives in California. Altogether, there and back, it's going to cost me $30. But you know, don't take it too hard, because first of all, I'm still going to make a profit when I resell this. I'm going to not take such a low offer for it. I accepted an $80 offer, so I'm going to probably, you know, going into fall and winter, these suits sell better, so I'm probably going to try for more like 100, 120. So I'm still going to make $40 or $50, you know, so don't get upset about stuff like this when it happens, because first of all, it's part of your business. Even if you did lose money, and you rarely do actually lose money, it's a write-off. So just, you know, just don't worry about it. But I just wanted to tell you about my experience today. Alright, the first item I have is a women's Talbot's crop pants. These were 50 cents at the Goodwill sale. I had them for a long time. I took an offer of $12, free shipping. I don't offer free shipping anymore. If you see free shipping, it's just I've had the item a while and it already had free shipping on it. Like this item, this is the same thing, and you can tell this is really old because this picture is so bad. This was 99 cents at the Salvation sale that no longer exists. And I took a best offer of $8.99 with free shipping. This is a Polo Ralph Lauren Argyle wool sweater. It was $4 at the Salvation. It was half off. And it sold for $27.99, and the buyer paid $43.49, and it went to Canada. I'm going to say this again. I think I said this in my last video, but I really did notice an uptick in international sales when I took off the free shipping on my items. because international sellers do not want to pay for the shipping in the US and then pay their high cost of shipping to themselves, because that's what they're actually doing, because it's worked into the cost when you have free shipping. So, I just wanted to put that out there again. If you're thinking of like taking off free shipping, and if you do sell internationally, there definitely was an increase. I also ship directly. I do not use the global shipping program, so they're getting a better deal with me than they would with them, because it's more expensive for the customer if you use the global shipping program. Okay, this is a pair of Johnston & Murphy Optima brown leather cap-toe shoes. I paid $5 for these, and they sold for $27.99. And the buyer paid $61.94 because it went to Australia. So that's why they paid so much. Alright, this is a pair of Worthington women's dress pants. I paid 50 cents for this at the Goodwill. They sold for $8, and the buyer paid a total of $15.20. Okay, this is a Brooks Brothers Basics tie. I'll show you the tag. See, Brooks Basics, so it's Brooks Brothers. And it has little owls all over it. So you can use the word novelty or whimsical with a tie like this. It cost $1.50 at the Salvation. It was half off, and it sold for $14.99, free shipping. This is a woman's Rena Rowan, I have no idea who that is, Seville dress. I purchased this at the Goodwill for 50 cents, and that is probably the only reason I purchased it. I purchased it when they first started doing the sale, when I first started knowing that the sale was even there. And I think I got a little too excited and bought many, many things I shouldn't have. And I lowered the price to $5 eventually, and the buyer paid $11.65. And this is a pair of Bourne shoes. They are chunky high heel shoes. Now, I was watching, I think his name is Tino the Soul Advisor. So if you want to know about shoes, watch that guy. He's really, really good. That's all he does is shoes, and you can get so much great information from him. But he's not a big fan of Bourne. He likes like the boots, but he's not a big fan of any other type. He doesn't really pick up anything but the boots. So in case you hear that, I just want to say it depends on what your profit margin is, what profit margin is acceptable to you. Like for me, if shoes are pretty easy, like if they're in good condition, they're easy to photograph, they're easy to put on. If you don't have to do a lot to them, that's great. So if I find anything like Bourne or Clark's in good condition where I don't really have to fuss with them at all, it's a quick list, and I'm looking, if it's a $12 profit, I'm perfectly happy. So with this, it was $4, and this sold for $24.99, and the buyer paid $33.64. With Bourne, I'm usually looking at no less than $20 for shoes, for the little shoes, the boots, stuff like that. So if that profit margin is okay for you, don't pass up the Bourne shoes, because you might hear it over there. But so, that's why it's so great to listen to different people, because it really depends on what's good for you. You know what I mean? Some people, yeah, $5 profit is fine for them. You know what I mean? So it all depends on what's okay for you. Okay, this is a pair of Bachborn black leather slip-on heels. This, again, here's the Bourne. This was $4 at the Goodwill, and it sold for $20, and the buyer paid $27.20. And this is Lauren Ralph Lauren, and it is a sheer ruffle front floral blouse. And I paid 49 cents for this at the Goodwill, and it sold for $10. And it was, now I wanted more for it, but it just wasn't selling. This was so light though, it cost $2.77 to ship, and so I did make $5 to $6 on it anyway. Alright, this is a polo, Ralph Lauren polo shirt, and it has this little logo here. It's the Hunter Jumper logo. I paid $2.25 and it sold for $24.99 free shipping. And this is a vintage jacket, blazer, men's sports coat, and it's very, very vintage. It even had a Union label, so it has, it's not real suede. I think that was faux suede. It's from Country Britches, and there's the Union label. The picture's so small. Let me get here. So it doesn't really have to be a name. This was 50 cents at the Goodwill sale, so I couldn't pass it up, and I'm glad I didn't. It sold for $24.99, and the buyer paid $36.64 total. Okay, this is a Playtex bra, and it was pre-owned, and I really need a bigger model if I want to put a bra on it, because like this looks really silly like this, but it sold anyway. It was $1.25, and it sold $13.99 with free shipping, and of course it costs like $2.70 to ship like first class mail. Alright, the last item is a pair of Allen Edmonds, which if you don't know, Allen Edmonds is absolutely awesome. Oh, we never leave that on the shelf unless it's absolutely falling apart. What did I pay? Oh, okay, I paid $6 for these, and they sold for $57.99, and the buyer paid $75.14. Now, with shoes like this, I'm not sure if you can get more. I mean, like I said, I'm learning more and more as I go. But if you hear me say, oh, you get this, it's not exactly what you get. Always do your research, and it really depends on whether you want to sit on something for a long time. I mean, I will sit on something for a while, but I wouldn't say I'm a long tail seller. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't go after a little while, I kind of get anxious and get rid of it, because like I've said before in other videos, I don't have the space for this. So if you see something sells at a certain price, definitely look it up. This is something that maybe can go for $100. It depends if you want to sit and you want to wait. I don't usually want to do that. I actually just brought a shoe rack that fits about 50 pairs of shoes, because I have two things like hanging over the door of my office and one hanging over the door of my bedroom that holds like 24 pairs of shoes. Those were filled. I have shoes like laying on top of boxes now. It's terrible. So I have this like thing, but I have to move the shoes because every time I go out, I come back with like 4 or 5 pairs of shoes. And if I don't move them quick enough, I'm just completely out of space. So there you go. That's the end of the eBay sales, and there's a couple of Etsy. Etsy really slowed down for me for the summer, but hopefully, I'm sure it's going to pick up again, like going into fourth quarter. But I do have a few. Here's a filigree hat pin. It was 25 cents at a church sale, and like I said, I do treat Etsy different than I treat eBay. I mean, I'm looking now to get close to an average profit of $15 an item, average profit. Etsy, I do not treat it the same way. If I see something that's cute enough and it's cheap enough and I can make $5 on it, I will put it on Etsy. Etsy, for me, it's easier to list too. It's not as difficult for some reason. I usually list faster on Etsy. And two, the more cute, like, the more you can get people intrigued with your store, and the more items you have and cute it is, I think it really gets people to favorite your store. And I'm watching, and people are actually shopping through my store a lot more. So I'm just looking for things that are interesting or unique or cute just to put in there. I mean, the high dollar items are great. Of course I want those, but I do treat it very different than I treat eBay. Okay, so I don't know if I finished that, but it sold for $6.99 and the buyer paid $9.66 for this. The next item is, it's a little elephant stand. I don't know if you can see it, but I think this was supposed to hold a tiny little bowl. This wasn't big at all. This was, let me see. It was 4 inches wide and 3 inches tall. And I'm assuming it came with a little bowl at some point, and there was a bowl that these trunks held up or something like that. But it was adorable. So, and it was only $1 at a church sale, and I sold it for 15. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was $15, and the buyer paid $23.34. Okay, the last item I have is a Japanese sleeping cat. And you have to see this thing. I have to enlarge this. Look at the paint on here. This is amazing looking. And I saw this at the Goodwill. I paid $5 for this, and I thought, oh, this has to be like worth a lot of money. No, not really. I mean, it took me forever to find something even close to the way it looked, because there's a lot of sleeping cats out there, but they didn't look like this. The artwork on here is kind of amazing. But finally I did find one that was similar. Even still, I wasn't sure what I had. I mean, here's the marking on the bottom. I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know who manufactured it. I had no idea. All I had was a 13 in a triangle. If any of you know, please let me know, because I tried to find this, and I spent days, like every day I'd spend a little time looking for it, and then finally like, okay. And what I did at first is I listed it several times on eBay first. I listed it twice as an auction, nothing. Then I listed it as a fixed price, nothing. And eventually, when I moved it over to Etsy, of course, it's sold, because like people are more looking for stuff like this. And I guess it doesn't have any great value other than it's fairly unique. But I paid $5 for this, and it sold for $39.99, and the buyer paid $60.04. And she was so happy. She was so cute. She wanted me to hold it. She was waiting for her check, and she literally fell in love with the cat. So, you know, you really don't get that on eBay as much either. Like, you get people who are just like so thrilled with their purchase on Etsy, you know. It's just what they were looking for. Okay, well, that's all I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video and your sales are going great, and I will see you next time.